Hello, everyone. Welcome to our class for May 2nd, 2019. Just continuing our story of Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yehoshua. So if you open up the document that I posted. So last thing we did was we're talking about this conversation that's going on. And Rabbi Yehoshua admits that he disagreed with Rabbi Gamliel about the status of Mariv. And that's not good enough for Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel wants to out Rabbi Yehoshua, make it clear publicly that even though now Rabbi Yehoshua is saying publicly that he disagreed with him, privately he disagreed with him. And so Rabbi Gamliel, as a form of almost punishment to Rabbi Yehoshua, makes him stand up. And Rabbi Yehoshua admits and says, look, I'm alive, and the person who asked this question is alive. Obviously, if he says, he'll say that I disagree with you, Rabbi Yehoshua. So obviously, Rabbi Gamliel. So obviously, it's true that I did. So now, Rabbi Gamliel has forced Rabbi Yehoshua to stand up throughout this entire, to stand up for what's about to happen. So now Rabbi Gamliel starts to give his regular class. He's the head of the Sanhedrin. He's the Nasi. This is the yeshiva where all the top scholars are learning, all the top Talmidei Chachamim. So now up to the next sentence. Hi, Rabbi Gamliel Yoshev Doresh. So now Rabbi Gamliel starts giving his speech. He's Yoshev. He's sitting down. But Doresh, like a drasha, Doresh is like to expound. He's getting into his whatever topic he's discussing. Rabbi Yehoshua Omeid al Raglav. And during this entire lecture, this entire shiur, Rabbi Gamliel is sitting down and peacefully giving his class. And Rabbi Yehoshua is Omeid al Raglav. Rabbi Yehoshua is standing up on his feet the entire time. It's going on and on and on and on. Everyone's sitting. Rabbi Yehoshua is standing. And everyone's getting uncomfortable. You can imagine this scene where it's almost like someone's forced in the corner. It's like they're in the and it's almost like they're being put in timeout. It's embarrassing and it's uncomfortable. Rabbi Yehoshua is a big Talmid Chacham. He's a big tzaddik. No one likes that he's being treated this way. It's getting very uncomfortable for everybody. Ad shiranenu kol ha'am. Until a noise begins to emerge. Shiranenu, there's almost like a buzz. Everyone's looking around and they're getting annoyed. They're feeling bad for Rabbi Yehoshua. They're getting mad at Rabbi Gamliel. And they feel like this whole thing is unnecessary and embarrassing for someone who they respect and admire. V'amru, and now the group kind of gets together and they seem to appoint someone to make a stand. V'amru lachutzpit haturgaman. So they reach out to Chutzpit, which is a great name. Chutzpit haturgaman. The turgaman was someone who was like a human microphone. There were no microphones back then. So there's a lot of people in a room. So how would you project your voice? So some people have loud voices and they don't need any help. But let's say you don't have a loud voice. You're just a regular person. You have a soft voice. So there'd be a maturgaman who would sometimes translate, but other times would just kind of be the human microphone. And Rabbi Gamliel would give his speech. And then Chutzpit, the maturgaman, had a loud booming voice, and he'd repeat everything out loud to make sure that everyone in the back could hear what he was saying. So they want to figure out how the people in the audience want to figure out how can they send a message to Rabbi Gamliel that they're really uncomfortable with what's happening and they don't like that Rabbi Yehoshua is being treated in this way. So they decide to tell the turgaman, this human microphone, tell him to stop. If he stops, the shiur is over because Rabbi Gamliel's voice clearly can't carry through the whole room. So if the maturgaman stops talking, Rabbi Gamliel is going to have to realize that people aren't happy with this. They're basically shutting down. His class is shutting him down. So what does Chutzpit do? V'amad, they tell him to stand, almost like to stand down, to stop. Just stand there. Don't repeat Rabbi Gamliel's words anymore. And that's what he does. V'amad. So it seems that Chutzpit, the turgaman, agreed that something was awry. This wasn't nice. What they were doing wasn't what was being done to Rabbi Yehoshua wasn't right. They tell him to stop, and he stops. Okay. Amrei. So now the people say to Rabbi Gamliel, "Ad kama nitzare for how long will you cause him to suffer? How long will you make Rabbi Yeshua suffering? And tsare, the shorish here is tsar, like pain, suffering. How long will you make him suffer? V'nezel, and damage him. How long will you damage him and make him suffer? B'Rosh Hashanah ishtaked tsare. So they're referencing now previous examples, previous episodes where Rabbi Gamliel had forced him to suffer. So on the Rosh Hashanah ishtaked of the previous year, tsare, you caused Rabbi Yeshua suffering. Bebechoros b'maaseh de Rabbi Tzadok tsare. In another case involving the Bechor, in the case involving Rabbi Tzadok tsare, chanami tsare ta v'ne'avre. So this was the third time now that Rabbi Gamliel had caused Rabbi Yeshua some sort of suffering and singled him out. It almost seemed like Rabbi Gamliel had this vendetta, almost like this revenge against Rabbi Yeshua. This is now the third time they've gotten to some sort of disagreement, and instead of just hashing it out and coming to a decision, Rabbi Gamliel kind of really sticks it to Rabbi Yeshua. And now this is the third time this is happening. It's very public. And this is no longer just about Rabbi Yeshua. Now the question is Rabbi Gamliel the right person to lead the Jewish people? If this is how he treats someone like Rabbi Yeshua, who everyone respects and loves, and this is how they're going to treat him, maybe he's not the right person for the job. And even though he's smart enough and he's learned enough and he is talented enough to play this role, maybe there's something a little bit off. Maybe he's just being a little bit too intense, and maybe he's a little bit too tough, meaning a leader does need to be tough at times, and a leader does need to be to stand up for themselves and not let people walk over them, make sure they demand respect. But there's a line going from demanding respect to being cruel or overly demanding. And the people are starting to wonder, maybe Rabbi Gamliel has gone too far. Maybe he's gone over that line, and now he's being a little bit cruel and demanding. V'ne'avre. Maybe it's time for us to replace him. So now the rest of the leadership is discussing, is open to the idea that it's time to replace Rabbi Gamliel as leader of the Jewish people, as Nasi. This is now going to become a huge issue now when you're discussing replacing the leader of the entire Jewish people in Israel. Jews aren't living in Babel. Jews aren't living anywhere else. Pretty much everyone is still living in Israel. Yes, some people are in Babel, but it's a small percentage. The big community is certainly still in Eretz Yisrael. So you're talking about the most influential, important figure in the Jewish world. They're looking to replace him. So it shows that there's a bit of a democracy, meaning if there's an uprising that people feel the leader must step down, it seems they do have the power to do that. But now they're going to have to figure out, is it the right move to replace him? And if they're going to replace him, who should they replace him with? And that's what we'll get into, hopefully on Monday. Hopefully I'll be back on Monday, and that's what we'll get into. All right, everyone. I hope the speaker was meaningful this morning. And I hope the program later for Yom HaShoah is good as well. And make sure to subscribe below. And in the comment section, so I know that you listened, tell me the name of the Maturgamon. What was the name of the translator or the human microphone in this class? All right, I will see you soon. Bye.